The assembly hall of the Great Concord waited in a hush that felt almost like a held breath. Delegates from across the quiet sectors floated or stood in their assigned alcoves, their varied forms shimmering under the pale light. The meeting had been called to evaluate the origin of a strange beacon that had crossed half the known universe before slowing near the Concord border. The signal was strong, rhythmic, confident. It carried a simple message of introduction, coded in a format no one expected to decipher so quickly. Yet they did. The sender called themselves travelers from the galaxy. None of the Concord species lived in that far region. Most believed it a barren stretch filled with unstable stars and worlds too violent for life. So when the beacon arrived, dread and curiosity merged. At the center of the hall, Elder Ralos of the Gentle Villain adjusted the folds of his pale cloak. He observed the delegates and sensed their unease. His own people were fragile, born on a soft world of mild winds and calm seas. He wondered what kind of being could cross so many dark reaches. Before he could speak, the hall doors opened with a chime. The sound was steady, almost sharp compared to the soft chimes the Concord preferred. 2 guards entered, followed by a figure neither tall nor short, but upright and grounded in a way none of the assembled beings were. The newcomer wore a uniform of simple lines and deep colors. Their dark hair was tied back. Their expression was calm. They introduced themselves with a firm nod. "My name is Lane, envoy of the travelers from the galaxy." The words echoed. Delegates shifted. Lane scanned the room with steady eyes. That look alone unsettled the weaker members of the Concord. For most species present, direct eye contact was rare because it could convey aggression. Lane's eyes did not appear hostile, only aware. Yet the awareness itself felt powerful. Elder Ralos took the lead. "Envoy Lane, welcome to the Great Concord. Your signal traveled from a region long assumed uninhabitable. How did your people come from the galaxy? How did you survive there?" Lane folded their hands behind their back. "My people grew where the land challenged us. The galaxy is not soft. Its worlds forged us." This answer caused ripples through the hall. The word forged carried weight. On most Concord worlds, evolution favored gentle creatures that avoided conflict through cooperation. They rarely fought natural disasters because their planets seldom produced them. A species forged by harsh terrain sounded unreal. Delegate Mavo of the thin-framed Liliac stepped forward. "Travel across that span of space is impossible for most. Your kind must have strong bodies to withstand such journeys. What is your origin world like?" Lane paused as though choosing careful descriptions. "The world of my people is called Terra by some and Earth by others. It circles a star of medium heat. The climate is volatile. Storms arrive with force. The land shifts. Ice forms where life endures. Heat builds where life also endures. We learn to adapt because the world rarely stayed still. Those who could not adapt did not last." Many delegates murmured. The Liliac were known for their delicacy. Their limbs could snap under pressure greater than a soft breeze. The thought of storms with force was beyond their experience. Delegate Oral of the thick-scaled Braxer leaned his massive shape forward. "Are you saying your people evolved on a world considered a death world?" Lane gave a slow nod. "That is one name used by some who studied our planet. Our bodies grew stronger because survival demanded it. But strength is only part of who we are. Deathworlders." The whisper spread like a gust stirring dust. Stories of deathworlds existed in Concord folklore. These planets were dismissed as myths or as rare anomalies when life failed to take hold. No one expected sentient beings to rise from such places. Lane's calm presence made the myth real. Elder Ralos clasped his hands and breathed deeply. "And what brings you to this region now?" Lane allowed a faint smile. Curiosity, exploration, a wish to connect. We have mapped and settled many systems in our region. Now we hope to learn beyond our borders. Delegate Mavo trembled. Explore, connect. Words meant peace. Yet there was something powerful behind them when spoken by a Deathworlder. The Concord species collaborated because they needed mutual support. Lane's people sounded like they survived without relying on others. Delegate Torin of the Slender Drian projected a soft beam of light from their crest. A question for clarity. If your world is dangerous, how do your people treat one another? Do you still struggle against your environment? Lane tilted their head. Our world remains active, but we have learned to shape our surroundings with tools. We build shelters that stand against wind and fire. We cross oceans in crafted vessels. We rise into the sky. We step beyond the sky. Our cooperation helped us grow. Our conflicts taught us caution. We value unity where we can manage it. More murmurs. To shape their surroundings so boldly. To rise into the sky by craft rather than instinct. These were feats beyond the Concord norm. Elder Rallos gestured. Please, Envoy Lane, share more about your journey from the galaxy. Few have charted that route. Lane walked toward the central display. With a tap on a panel, a star map shimmered to life. The path traced across half the hall. It crossed unstable clusters of stellar debris and gravity wells, strong enough to distort most ships. Lane explained their propulsion in broad terms. They used drives built from metals drawn from dying stars. They powered themselves through intense reactions that would melt most vessels. The audience listened with a mixture of awe and discomfort. Delegate Oral rumbled. This is beyond any craft in the Concord. Lane nodded. My people have spent generations learning how to push our limits. We have lost many in the process. Loss is painful, but curiosity drives us. The mention of loss stilled the room. For species who rarely face danger, the idea of losing many from simply trying to explore seemed tragic. Yet Lane did not deliver the words with sorrow alone. There was honor woven in. Elder Rallos took a careful step. What do your people seek from the great Concord? Lane stood still. Respect, exchange of knowledge, partnership if it suits both sides. We do not seek control. Our growth does not come from conquest. It comes from challenge. The delegates exchanged looks. The Concord valued peace and had no military force beyond simple defense drones. Lane's species, raised on a death world, could likely overpower them if they wished. The fact that they came peacefully meant the Concord had a rare chance. Still, caution was necessary. Delegate Mavo raised a hand. Could you share more about your culture? What guides your decisions? Lane considered. We value courage, but also wisdom. Curiosity, but also responsibility. Many of our traditions began as survival rituals. Over time, they became ways to bind communities. We tell stories of those who built shelters in storms. We honor those who crossed frozen lands to bring help to others. We admire those who faced danger to protect our shared home. The hall grew warmer with understanding. These values echoed some within the Concord, though formed under different conditions. Delegate Torin asked, how do your people react when you meet new civilizations? With hope, Lane replied, and readiness. We learned long ago that not every meeting is peaceful, but we choose peace first when given the chance. The delegates seemed relieved. Elder Rallos continued, we are a cooperative assembly. Our species have lived in harmony for many cycles. If your people join us, they must follow our principles. Lane bowed slightly. We respect the principles of others unless they require harm. The gentle statement carried the weight of a boundary drawn with kindness but firmness. A few delegates sensed the core strength behind it. Elder Rallos signaled the hall display. Envoy Lane, would you share examples of your technological progress so that we may better understand your capabilities? Lane projected images of huge orbital stations built from alloys unknown to the Concord. They showed medicine that could heal internal damage swiftly. They displayed learning systems that allowed children to master skills quickly. They shared methods of dealing with hostile climates and disasters. The hall was captivated. Delegate Oral watched closely. Your people have achieved all this while managing a dangerous environment. It explains your resilience. Lane nodded. Our world shaped us, but our choices shaped our future. The room seemed to settle into a calm understanding. They were speaking with beings who grew from challenges none of them could imagine. Yet these beings had arrived with diplomacy and patience rather than threats. Elder Rallos motioned again. Perhaps you can tell us about your first steps into space. Lane smiled faintly. We began with small craft that barely touched the edge of our sky. Most failed, but each failure taught us. Then we reached our moon, then nearby planets. We built stations. We launched probes. We learned to travel farther. Curiosity led us to solve what once seemed impossible. The Drian delegate shimmered with admiration. That path required great spirit. Lane nodded. Spirit is one word. Stubbornness is another. We rarely give up. The Concord could understand stubbornness. Even delicate species fought for survival when needed. But Lane's people seemed to embody a stronger version of it. Elder Rallos spoke softly. I sense no ill intent from you. Yet your strength is clear. Many here may wonder if they can trust your kind. Trust grows with action, not words, Lane said. We are willing to demonstrate our intent through cooperation. We can share knowledge, aid where needed, seek understanding. We do not wish to dominate. We wish to explore.